Hello and welcome back to Lombardi Sweep. I'm Zach Bruner, Luke Rammer, Trevor Land are here, and Janet Wilson is back, fresh off the slopes. Looks like at least she's been skiing all day with kindergartners or whatever she's teaching. I don't know. That seems like a good time,
In
probably.
the 78-degree weather right now.
78?
Yes.
Okay. Well, lucky you. Have fun when you come to Green Bay in a couple of weeks, I guess.
Bring some Whataburger.
Okay.
Bring Luke Whataburger. That'll survive the trip. Packers bye week, so I mean, obviously we're not going to be previewing a game. We'll be talking about last week's game. We will be talking about Pro Bowl selections. Packers are in a weird situation this year for Pro Bowl selections, I feel like.
Yep.
But we can start with last week's game. To Trevor's point before the show, him and I should not be here because we predicted the Rams to win. I will say I'm going to speak for you as well. If we could have changed our picks as soon as we saw Aaron Rodgers in that turtleneck, I know I would have. Once that thing comes off, he's an assassin. And at that point, I'm like, oh, okay, Packers won. And that's exactly what happened.
For me, it was the moment I saw Stafford on his first drive. I was like, oh, okay, he's still messed up.
For me, it was the moment that Jalen Ramsey got burned, had a penalty, and juked out by a quarterback with 9 toes on the first drive.
I think that was
that didn't look good.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I kind of want to get that picture framed of Rodgers, hands behind his back, Ramsey.
I saved it in my phone.
Second backdrop.
I might need that.
I might go right up there with Rasul behind you there.
I know. I kind of want it. It may have to happen. Yeah, we can talk about the game. For all the people who dislike me being negative, I'm going to try to do a full positive Packers show and just say positive things about the Packers blindly and misinformed like everybody else. So let's go ahead and do that. Packers won. Yay! They scored 36 points.
Woohoo!
I don't know. It was a good game, I would say. Obviously, Rodgers played extremely well. I think the stats don't necessarily tell the full story. One play has, I guess, gone viral, I suppose, because of people trying to analyze it. And that is that third down play. They brought Deguara across the field. They brought him in motion. Jalen Ramsey got bumped out by a slot receiver. And positive. It was a genius call by Matt LaFleur because it wasn't anybody else. But apparently Aaron Rodgers talked about it on Pat McAfee's show this week, how Devontae ran his own route as soon as that happened, which is unbelievable. He ran his own route. He burnt whoever that corner was. Rodgers just found him. And I think that is sort of like the perfect play that encapsulates what those two are for the Packers this year and every year, I guess. But like they're just on their own, in their own fucking world out there. They're doing whatever they want. Adams runs whatever route he wants. Rodgers finds him. And it's not anything anybody can defend because nobody knows what they're doing. I don't know. Like that might be the play of the game that clearly won them the game. Like, I don't know. It's so good.
It's like the opposite. You know, Devontae Adams is going to do whatever route he wants, and Rodgers always knows where he's going to be, right? And that's how these connections are happening. It's like the opposite when, you know, you're playing like two-person Madden. Someone's the quarterback, someone's the receiver, and whoever's the receiver running all these routes, and the quarterback throws it too early. Like, what the hell, man? Wait another second, I was open. But whatever. Like you said, Zach, that has been working. I think that's been going on longer than just this year. I think it's been going on probably back to 2015, 2016, somewhere in there. And that just goes to show you how great, you know, it is when you have a veteran quarterback who has an uncanny connection with a veteran receiver.
Yeah. It's not even just that. Like, everyone knows they have to double Devontae Adams, right? But his release is so good, so you can't get a hand on him. And then he runs whatever route he wants, so you can't watch film to know what he's going to do. And Rodgers, this is the difference between Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson, right? Russell Wilson's short. He has to trust where his receivers are. They go by the book. So he throws it up 80 yards downfield and trusts DK Metcalf to be there. Rodgers sees the entire field. He analyzes it, breaks it down extremely quickly because he is, I don't think it's out of turn to say he's probably the most intelligent football player on the field at all times, right? Like he just reads everything extremely quickly. He gets off of reads. He analyzes the field. He finds Adams there. And it's a cheat code. Like it's one of those things where you can't, not to bring it back to this, like, but you can't get rid of him. Like you can't not have him in the building. Like the Packers need to pay him whatever. They need to do whatever, say whatever, do anything. Bring both of them back, because if those two are on the field, it doesn't matter if you have, say, Alan Lazard also on the field dropping passes willy-nilly. Like they're just so good, man. It's so fun to watch.
I don't know if you guys ever heard that podcast with that Aaron did with Danica Patrick, where he like talked about how when he was little he used to play this game, and it was like a math game. And so now when he's on the field, he says that before he throws a ball, like he does a math in his head. And I'm like, that's remarkable. I can't even do math when it's put in front of me, but this guy's doing it on the field. It's crazy. Like just to hear him think and talk the way he does. He was talking about how that game though that he would play, it was like a math game, and you're supposed to play with a partner, but he would play against himself. It's ridiculous.
That makes sense.
For fun. He would
What
do
a
it for
loser.
fun.
Nerd.
Yeah, jeez. Never mind. I take back what I said.
Get him off
No
the
nerds
team.
at QB. Yeah.
Don't pay him. Don't pay him.
You want Blake Bortles?
Also true. Like two things could be true. But watching that, I just watched that game back before we did the previous show. There were so many like wow throws by Aaron Rodgers in that game. And I feel like it went under the radar a little bit. One, because Joe Buck was commentating. And two, because, I don't know, there's just so many outside things going on and so many other storylines like Matthew Stafford looking terrible. That's being analyzed, stuff like that. Everything was on a dime, man. Like he played so extremely well. There's another hyper intelligent football IQ conversation on Pat McAfee's show this week. I talked about it a little bit already, but like talking about how good the Packers offensive line played again is a reflection of Aaron Rodgers in this game. Like he knows he has two Hall of Famers on the defensive line coming after him, and he used his cadence as a weapon the entire game. He went on, they talked about second color, third color, fourth number, first sound after the third color. They did that with the cadence constantly. Von Miller, Aaron Donald can't be coming off the ball quickly, so the offense is always initiating contact. Those 3rd and 1s are always a gimme when you have stuff like that. It slows down the pass rush. It helps out the Josh Nijman, Royce Newmans of the world. Like it is unbelievable. It's why the Packers offensive line is ranked top year after year after year. They're always up there because of that cadence. And it's why like the difference between Aaron Rodgers down to anybody else, like you just look at that Chiefs game, right? Jordan Love was under pressure the entire game. That defensive front isn't better than the Rams. We can't pretend that the Rams are a bad opponent. Like just cadence alone, it slows down the pass rush. It keeps them guessing. It keeps the offensive line at an advantage. And then on top of it, you throw in Aaron Rodgers, who plays math games against himself. He can read the defense at all times, so he knows when people are blitzing. He knows who's open. He knows Davante Adams has a mismatch because the Rams made a bad call on the outside. Like the mental warfare in this game was at an all-time high. And like just watching back, I think I would advise everybody to watch back this game because I think it really highlights how good Aaron Rodgers is. And it was things that don't show up in the stats. I was geeking out, actually. It's really good.
For the second time in the last 3 weeks, I'm going to call a player a bitch on this podcast, and that is Aaron Donald. That dude is such a little...
Aaron Rodgers is a bitch.
Nerd and a bitch.
Aaron Donald is such a baby. Like, he gets beat and he cries and whines and, like, throws a tantrum. Also, he literally, like, choked a dude in front of the ref, and they're like, nah, it's not a penalty.
Lucas Patrick.
What are we doing here?
Lucas Patrick tapped out. Yeah.
The way that the ref was separating them is the way I separate my 5-year-olds when they're fighting. I'm like, stop it. Stop. That's the way he separated them. Like, stop. Just stop.
But it's like you look at a player or you walk toward the sideline and you are flagged. You choke a dude out and they're like, play on.
You throw a shoe, you get flagged. You get fined.
Are any of us really mad if Lucas Patrick gets choked out?
If he doesn't get a flag for it, yeah.
But I mean,
I wanted to do.
Is it really that?
Like do the old Undertaker Kane thing. Like, they're doing like the choke slam thing. He needed to like do it back to him and then slam him. Like,
is it that big of a difference if Lucas Patrick isn't in the starting lineup?
Right now, yeah.
I guess.
Unfortunately, like who's going to play center?
Can you answer this for me? Again, I'm not nearly as good at analyzing offensive linemen. Did Billy Turner have a bad game, or did I just see a lot of plays where he looked very bad? Because I felt there were 2 or 3 plays where it looked like he really messed up.
He didn't have a good game. He's been getting beat constantly, but I mean, he's much better in run blocking than he is in pass blocking. He was constantly slow on his first step, I would say, no matter who they lined up out there. So you're not wrong. It's also a technique. You know, I use technique in as many quotes as you want to call it to kind of draw that edge rusher back to kind of run him around Rodgers. Like I showed you that one clip of the Seahawks when they let Whitney Merciless get like 5 steps into the backfield before even touching them. They're kind of hoping they run them past the entire play and make an easier block. So I think Billy Turner does that a little bit, which I don't love, but that's not necessarily bad. Again, it'll count as a pressure allowed or whatever. But yeah, I know he's hit or miss. He doesn't get much help on that side. I'm going to stay positive.
If you're positive, can I be negative for one section? You know, I've got to stay true to the brand. That's me.
Me and Jan are just positive all the time.
Yeah. You're like the golden retrievers, and me and Zach are like the cats. Yeah.
Well, I'm 4'11", so I'm more like a chihuahua. So.
Fair. I texted you about this, Zach. I think maybe Luke as well. I don't remember, but near the end of the game, the Packers are up 11 in field goal range, usually for Crosby, just on the outside. 3rd and 5, I believe, and they pass the ball with the Rams having no timeouts. I get it's 3rd and 5, and it's tough to get 6, but my point of view was run the ball, run the clock, get it down to almost a 2-minute warning, then kick it. Because 30 seconds won't kill you, but if you don't get the first down, it will. Do you think that's something that LaFleur did wrong? Do you think that's a good chance to take? Because personally, I thought it's just not worth the risk, but I'm interested to see what you guys think about that.
In terms of passing instead of running it?
Yeah, like was that the good call for the scenario?
I get what you're saying. I think I would agree with you that we should have ran it because obviously worst case scenario, time comes off the clock. Best case scenario, we get the first down. I mean, there's no really bad side there. So I don't think it was a crucial mistake. I don't think he should be, taken behind the woodshed for that mistake. It wasn't like an NFC Championship mistake. But yeah, I think it's something he probably should have done better. It's a game management thing that you have to have a full picture. But also you can make the argument of, hey, this is a big 3rd down. Who else would we want the ball, in the hands of? And that's Aaron Rodgers.
And that's what I was just about to say. It makes sense to run, but Packers are in a weird spot that they have, a top 5 football player for like the last 15 years now. And, to really put the dagger in him, you get Rodgers, just give the ball to Rodgers and have him make a play. I think it works both ways. The Packers are just in a unique spot here.
What about you, Janet?
I agree with Luke. Just give the ball to Aaron. He does really well. He's like, what do you call it? Those like kettle pots, the ones that make the noise, that whistle. They make the whistle.
I agree.
I know what you're talking about.
He reacts.
Where is this going?
He reacts really well when he's under pressure. When he's under pressure, he does really well.
That's like a teacher joke. That's a stretch. But
a tea kettle or whatever those little pot things are that make the noise.
They whistle?
I think, yeah, they whistle. I just feel like every time you give him the ball and he's just under that under pressure, he does really well. So I would say give it to him.
I think he was whistling in that viral photo with his hands behind his back, walking away from Ramsey. He's whistling like a teapot there. Yeah.
I had one question, one more thing about Aaron Rodgers before we move on here. I noticed it when Von Miller got that roughing the passer call, which, you know, it probably was roughing the passer, hit Rodgers in the head, whatever. But do you think Rodgers and other quarterbacks are starting to take advantage of these rules and holding on to the ball as long as they can and getting it right at the point where it's going to be roughing the passer? Because I saw Lamar Jackson do it too Sunday night.
Or Lamar Jackson doesn't have anybody to throw the ball to.
I do.
So, but my question is, do you think that's a point of emphasis for quarterbacks right now that they're thinking about that scenario?
I'm not sure about holding it longer to do that, but I think
they're just putting themselves in a position.
Yeah, I think they're aware of their body movements. It's the same thing as like basketball. Like you're aware of your body movements when you shoot. Like after you shoot, you make it a habit to move over and stuff like that. I think that's possible. Also, Rodgers is, like we've said a million times now, like he can play math with himself, man. Like he is hyper intelligent, so he's aware of his surroundings at all time. He's aware of where every single person on the field is at all times. So I'm sure he does that. It would be, it'd be dumb for him not to, I guess.
Yeah.
Speaking of Rodgers, I do want to say one more thing here about his toe. And because there's been a lot of questions, obviously not COVID toe, broken toe. But he said, there was a made up story again, surprise, surprise, about how he's going to get surgery. And then now he's not going to get surgery, and neither of which somehow are true. Like they're going to reevaluate after this week and early next week to see if he needs surgery. And seemingly every Packers reporter has written a story or asked him specifically or asked LaFleur about why wouldn't he get surgery and stuff like that. And I just kind of want to clarify that. So obviously it's his pinky toe broken. If he gets surgery, they have to put something into it. They're going to put, a rod or whatever in there, and it's going to immobilize it. So it's going to help prevent further injury. It's still going to hurt, obviously, but that's not the reason to not get surgery. The reason to not get surgery is because it's going to immobilize it. He's not going to have that flexibility, and he's going to walk around like he has metal in that toe that doesn't bend. Like that's the reason for it. It's super, super simple. Tape your finger, put a splint on it, and try to, go about your day. It's hard because it's immobilized. Like that's the whole point about him not getting surgery. He's going to try to go forth the rest of the season and then let it heal, or get surgery then. Like he doesn't want to walk around and feel awkward, like going on those runs. Like imagine trying to cut when the outside toe doesn't move. Like he's going to slip, he's going to fall, he's going to be off balance. That's the reason for it.
Isn't that what they did to Russell Wilson's hand? He's been playing like crap.
Yeah. It's actually exactly what they did. Yeah. So different, obviously a little bit different because he's throwing with it. But to your point, like it's immobilized. He's clearly having a little bit of issues. So yeah, super simple. Before we get into Pro Bowls, Luke, I want to address something you talked about off the show. That 2-3 defense thing.
Yeah.
Because I think it's interesting. So I will start by saying that guy is not right or wrong, in my opinion.
Okay.
Like you were talking about.
So the backstory.
You say what it was.
The backstory is someone told me that they think that Matt LaFleur runs 2-3 defense on 3rd and long when we're on defense. I asked Zach, and we kind of came to the point that it was 6 D-backs. And there's not really a reason to run 6 D-backs on 3rd and short when you're on defense. And then Zach brought up that it doesn't make sense to run, 23 offense either.
No, like a 2-3 defense, like it's not a thing, but also like defensive labels are solely for the offense. So like no one would call it a 2-3 defense. So yes, they've been running 6 D-backs in that game. Like I looked at this. So Adrian Amos, Savage, Stokes, Douglas, Sullivan, and Devondre Campbell played every single snap in the game. Which, side note for the people saying how good the defense is playing because they got so much depth, I would point that stat to you. It's not depth, they're just playing every snap. But, like, they played 2 defensive linemen, quote unquote, essentially the entire game. And a lot on that third down. Like, they just had Dean Lowry and Kenny Clark in there, or they substituted Lowry out and put in Kiki or somebody like that. And then they had Rashaan Gary on one side, Preston Smith on the other side. So then I would argue, I would never view Rashaan Gary as a linebacker. Technically, if you're a box score analyst sort of thing, you just look at the roster and see where people are positioned. Like, yes, so technically he's a linebacker. There's only 2 defensive linemen. And then at the linebacker level, they brought Henry Black to play linebacker. So yes, he's a D-back, but he's playing linebacker. Henry Black didn't play a single snap at safety. So is he a safety or is he a linebacker? So again, technically he's a D-back. They had the 3 corners. They had the 2 safeties. So the guy's not wrong in that they ran 2 defensive linemen and I guess 3 linebackers, because it would have been Preston Smith, Rashaan Gary, or, different outside linebacker, and then Devondre Campbell. But in short, they're running a lot of D-backs. But it's also kind of like, personnel-wise, what did the Rams do? Like, they just spaced you out, and they refused to run the ball, even though the Packers had 6 D-backs in the game. So I think it's interesting to note, though, because it does show creativity a little bit.
It almost seems like the variation of when they went to the Super Bowl, and I think they might have ran a 3-4 defense, but they brought Clay Matthews and Nick Perry up to the line, so it was basically a 5-2 defense.
Yeah, there's a lot of times in the game that it almost looks like a modern-day version of the 4-6 defense. They had a bunch of guys up on the defensive line. Some they brought, some they didn't. It's also like you can't really classify the defense in terms of a label. And again, all labels are designed for the offense just so they know who to block and how to identify it. So it's pointless to try to actually identify it. But it almost looked like a hybrid between a 3-3 defense and a 4-6 defense. And I think it's solely because of, well, not solely, I guess. One, because the Rams just ran spread and tried to pass it around, obviously. And 2, because we don't really have the personnel to, stack it, run a bunch of linebackers and D linemen. Like, everybody's hurt and there's no depth. All we have is a bunch of decent corners. So that's who's in the game, I guess, Mm-hmm. And it's working, obviously.
When's the last time?
But yeah.
When's the last time we said that all we have is decent corners compared to the rest of the positions on the defense?
Yeah, I wasn't alive, so I'm not sure.
He's trying to be positive, guys.
Yeah, quit setting me up.
He's trying to test you.
The defense played decent, though. I don't think it's to credit them, but they didn't get beat. That's my positive spit on it.
Another thing that I had with the defense that, again, I don't know if this is just changing things up. It was just that one play that I noticed it when they were up 19 in the 4th. It was getting to the middle of the 4th. They had their safeties playing short or in a little bit. Now I think Amos I think there was definitely miscommunication there. There's no question. And Douglas was kind of left on an island, which, whose fault is that? You can kind of pick and choose, but I was surprised that they didn't just have the safeties deep at that point. Like, at that point, it was really with that offense. I mean, what do you have to lose by keeping them deep? Like, time is not a factor, and you have Aaron Rodgers. Like, just keep them deep. Don't worry about the underneath. Just don't let them get you on that big play, especially for a team that already did it, right? Already did it earlier in the game.
Twice.
And they let him do it again. And it's just, Joe Barry, I will give him credit. He has done better than I thought he did. But it's things like that where you just gotta shake your head. Like, why? Like, especially with the game script, why?
I think everything kind of goes back to what we said in the preseason when we were kind of breaking down this Joe Barry defense. I think he calls like a base call, and I think the players make plays. on that deep middle to Van Jefferson, that touchdown, I think Chandon Sullivan was on him. Like, Chandon Sullivan got beat, but Darnell Savage came up to jump a different route. Like, he had somebody deep. He was supposed to have help, and he just had he has the freedom. Joe Barry empowers them to make plays, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. These safeties jump a lot of routes, a ton, and we've been seeing more and more offenses scouting that and then hitting them over the top. So, like, I don't think it's not something Joe Barry called to have them come up, but it's also his philosophy that's causing this to happen, you know?
It'd be nice with all the safeties jumping routes if they could hold on to a ball once.
That'd be awesome. That'd be super cool. You'd try it. Why not? Put some stickum on the gloves. Who gives a shit?
Right.
If we get caught, we get caught.
Spider tack.
Hey, if it's anything like the NBA, it'll just be a slap on the wrist.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure. Anything else to say about this game? Oh, Randall Cobb got hurt. Randall Cobb looks so fucking good in this game, though.
Yeah, for sure. That right away in the, it might have been 3rd and long when he took it, over the middle and ran off to the right, the long deep pass. I forget when the play was, but it was very reminiscent of that Sunday night game against the Bears to start the week, maybe, or to start the year 4 or 5 years ago.
I agree. He looks super fast in this game, though. Like, he looked like the fastest player on the field.
That one he had done the sideline was nice, too.
Yeah. To Janet's point, that fumble hurts. It feels like it had to have been super windy on the field because of how many drops and stuff like that was going on in the game. There's also Johnny Hecker, who could have, he has a million kicks in his repertoire. He could have, like, watermelon kicked it. Who knows? Like, he's a very good punter, so it's not good he dropped it, obviously, but I'm almost, like, understandable of it, I guess. Make no mistake, though, if it was Amari Rodgers, I would be going down his throat. Like, I would be going at him.
Kind of along the lines of windy on the field, did you guys feel the same way as I did about that Mason Crosby missed kick? I might have seen it wrong, but I watched it twice. It looked like it curved at the very end. Like, it looked like it was wobbly, but it was somewhat true, and at the very end, it hooked left for a game where he had close makes, but he made a decent amount of field goals, so it just feels bad, so I hope it was the wind.
Well, there's ones that he made that curved super weird, too. Like, they've been wiggling a lot, and I would assume it's the wind. I don't know I don't know enough about it. So I don't know if there's, like, a way you could kick it where it's moving that much. If so, I mean, it's figured out, I guess. But, yeah, I would assume it's the wind. Trevor, you brought this up in the chat or whatever. Yes, Janet? Go ahead.
No, because you were talking about the wind
to
figure it out. And
I thought you're like, I have a point. I have something to say. Trevor, you brought up, like, what we think about Mason Crosby in terms of, like, replacements or something like that. Like, what's your thoughts then on that?
I think he lives another day just because of that. Like, it just looked weird. And the one thing that I did like is, I think the first one, I don't know if it was just me, but he made it and you looked at him and even he was like, that was close.
Yeah, I saw that too. I saw his face. Like, a sense of relief just flushed over him.
But on the other ones, like, in the second one, I think was kind of close too. But then you saw the confidence kind of come back. And then on the last one he missed, it looked like he was telling his guys, like, that's me. And I believe it was wind. Like, I don't have enough to say it was, but I also, nothing looked wrong to me. And it was a weird look. So I think he's good for now. I think it's unfortunate he missed the last one because I think that would have been a very good game for his confidence in him and the guys. So I think he's good, but I definitely don't think he's out of the woods.
Yeah. I don't know what Luke and Janet think. I guess you guys can add after this. I just don't feel like any of the kicks are, like, the misses are physical. So, like, to me, it just feels like he's in his head because he doesn't trust his snapper and the holder yet. So hopefully, I mean, it's a lot to ask someone on their bye week to, hey, let's practice with these guys, but if they can do that, like if they can get over that mental hurdle, I think we're good. Because the snaps have been, if I remember right, I feel like they've been decent the past 2 weeks. I don't think they've been bad. So like, I think that's the only thing. Like, I don't think it's physical, and I don't want to replace him. The only reason to replace him would be we just need somebody who already doesn't have that mental block. Like, that's the only thing. And I obviously don't want that.
Yeah. My take on it is, I don't think you can replace Mason Crosby this year. I think you have to let it ride out, because if the problem truly is the chemistry, then you're just losing that much progress if you're signing a new kicker and everything. But this just goes to show you how, fucking insane Justin Tucker is that kickers matter so much. And he, relative to their position, he may be like one of the best NFL players of all time. But, I'm just in that same route. Like, you have to ride out with Mason Crosby. And I think if they do, given they get rid of him, there's not many good kickers out there, to be honest. You're better off just like going for 2 every time you score.
I agree.
I don't think we should replace him at all. I think he's been more in clutch than he has been out of, like, I don't know. I also think like it's a mental thing right now, but I think he's too valuable of a player to get rid of right now just because he's in a funk. I think it's like the same situation. I don't know. I just think he's in a funk and he needs to get out of it, like you said. I would not replace him. We rely on him way too much.
It's just like basketball, right? You're having a tough day shooting from 3. You drive to the hole, get fouled, and you see a free throw going, and that raises your confidence a little bit.
I agree. I mean, he's also been here forever. He's a leader in the locker room, and I would take a wild guess to say if we did cut him, Rodgers may not be understandable of that. He may be a little bit pissed off, and I don't want to piss him off. Like, I'd rather lose the NFC Championship again than piss him off and let him walk, basically. Okay. Luke, do you want to talk Pro Bowl selections here?
Yeah, when I texted you guys that, I just, people are starting to put Pro Bowl stuff out there. Zach, you said you voted right before this. I would just, say the Packers don't make the Super Bowl. Who from this team, would you guys pick to make the Pro Bowl?
It's like I said earlier, I think they're in an interesting situation. I guess to clarify how Pro Bowl voting works, it's split into 3. So fan votes are a third, fellow players are a third, and then coaches are a third. So like fan votes count big, I guess, but also kind of not really. But the Packers are in a weird situation because, I mean, Bakhtiari is always a lock. He's not going to make it now. Elton Jenkins, you would assume, was a lock. But now we have to ask if 12 games, I guess technically 12 games is enough to make a Pro Bowl. And then defense, there's the safeties have been good. They have to compete with Harrison Smith. The Devondre Campbell's good. He has to compete with Malcolm. What's his name from Seattle? I can't even remember his name right
Robbie
now.
Wagner.
Brogdon.
Yeah. Wagner's right. I was thinking of... Yeah, thank you. Wagner's who I was thinking. And Fred Warner. So I don't know. What's your initial thoughts, Luke? Like, defense for me personally is tough, but offense is...
Yeah, just Kenny Clark to defense from me. I think, the media obviously plays a lot into it, and the media absolutely loves Kenny Clark right now. But if we're being honest, should Preston Smith make it? Yeah, he probably should. Should Amos have, at least have his name thrown out there? Yeah, probably. But they're not having these big splashy plays. Media isn't talking about them. So that makes me think Kenny Clark might be the only choice.
What percentage, and this is a total guess from you guys, what percentage of the fan votes do you think comes from like the actual NFL voting thing? And what percentage do you think comes from social media? I don't know.
I don't know either. I would imagine it has to be pretty similar. No, probably more on social media because more people are going to do it on social media compared to going to NFL.com and making their votes.
That's my thought too. I just wasn't sure.
I would feel like
because I voted
in
on
your face. Like if it's on social media, it's up in your face, like vote right now, as opposed to, if you would have to go to NFL.com.
I did the NFL.com one just because I wanted to see where they list players and stuff like that. And then my other question, I guess, would be, because like this is a different player on a different team, but they have Micah Parsons listed as an inside linebacker on there. So is he only eligible for inside linebacker? Like if he gets voted, social media gets voted a ton, would they put him at inside linebacker? Because one, that makes no sense. But then two, that for sure means, in my opinion, means Devondre Campbell won't get it.
Yeah, I think they would put him at inside backer. I feel like that was a controversy. Someone was playing running back and receiver or something like that a couple of years back. I don't remember who, but I feel like that came up before. And they voted him as like a running back and another receiver came or something.
Yeah, that's weird. But my point was social media and NFL.com. NFL.com orders the players by stats, and pretty much every defensive player is ordered by sacks. So like Rashaan Gary's pushed down because he doesn't get sacks. Kenny Clark's only got 4, so he's pushed down. He also has to compete with Aaron Donald and players like that. But if it goes to social media, obviously Packers have a massive fan base, and everyone loves Kenny Clark and Devondre Campbell. Packer fans know how good he is, so people are going to vote him. So I think it's really interesting this year.
Yeah.
For Packers. Trevor, what are your thoughts?
I think social media probably makes up most of it now. I mean, the thing about NFL.com too is they do with MLB, NBA, all this crap. You have to vote. You have to go to the website, click them. Then, you're probably going to get spam emails from their sponsors, and they make you sign up and put down your email and your phone number and your social security number and all that crap. Whereas I can just hit a certain retweet button and also vote for the same guy. So I think not only are people lazy, but the websites do a horrible job. And so I think for that reason, most of it's going to be social media. So I think that's going to help the Packers.
And that Kenny Clark MVS beef may actually help him out too.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's going to get a lot of eyes on this. So I think that's good. His Twitter account's bigger because of it, because they're funny.
I think that Kurt Benkert will have the video game Twitter in his hands that'll play into it.
That's actually a good point too. He's our secret weapon. We've been seeing all year long.
Also, Quick Trip did work with Rashaan Gary and somebody else too, and everybody loves Quick Trip up here. So
true. Rashaan Gary's an interesting one because, my opinion is he shouldn't make it. If people do the site, he won't make it. But Packer fans really, really, really love him, and everyone talks about how amazing he is. And then people were also mind blown that he's 24 years old this week, which is amazing.
I like the way you're being so positive.
I was happy.
It's my job. Come on.
I was happy he got his 5th sack in the 13th game of the year.
I will give him credit.
Same.
Good job for him stepping up when we needed him. That was a big fumble. So I'll give him credit on that. I'll spare the analysis and the crap talk for next week the week after. Hey, we got a whole week off without having to say this has to be a Rashaan Gary game. So good for us.
He'll be just as he'll just be just as active this week as he was most other weeks.
I'm gonna go through withdrawals now talking about Rashaan Gary.
Positive, Zach.
That was positive. I think. Yeah,
it was.
You'll be good.
It was. Yeah. Backhanded counts.
Yeah. I said it in a happy tone. But Zadaria Smith made it last year. Obviously, he had a lot more sacks than Rashaan Gary, but I think he actually does have a legitimate shot to make it. I think a lot of the AFC pass rushers are scary. Obviously, he won't be competing with them. Von Miller's interesting because I think people will vote him just blindly. He has to compete with him now, which kind of sucks. But he would be the second most likely from that defense for me. And then Adrian Amos would probably be third.
Totally agree.
Offense outside of Rodgers and Devontae, do you think anybody gets it?
I'm wondering if that same idea of popularity goes to Aaron Jones a little bit. Otherwise, I don't see anyone else. Like you said before, Jenkins maybe if 12 games is enough, but
yeah. It's weird. Like because Jones also missed time now too.
Mm-hmm.
And we have Packer fans, some split their votes, maybe. Like, because obviously AJ Dillon's been doing a lot better. He's obviously extremely popular.
He's got Door
social
County
media
vote.
and everywhere. He's got Door County's vote. So if someone for some reason was voting only one of them, I almost wonder if they would choose AJ Dillon because of recency bias.
Maybe.
I don't know, man. The kind of good thing is how many injuries there's been around the league, right? Alvin Kamara's been hurt. Christian McCaffrey hurt again.
Dalvin Cook.
Dalvin Cook now. Yeah, there's a lot of NFC running backs going down. I don't know. Janet, what are your thoughts? Do you think either Packer running back gets it?
Didn't Aaron Jones kind of get snubbed last year?
Yes, I think.
I think
They didn't
I think he
vote
was a
for it.
replacement,
He didn't get it.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
He didn't get it. So I think I would want him to get it. I think he deserves it. But
I agree.
I don't know. It's so weird the way it works. I thought he would have gotten it last year. He did amazing last year. So, and I think he's doing better this year, but yeah, I would just say Aaron Jones.
How many touchdowns does Aaron Jones have this year?
Pumba.
I'll say 6. I'll let you know.
Pumbaa has something he wants to say, so
if you could have Pumbaa talk into the mic, please, that'd be good. Aaron Jones has 3 rushing, 4 receiving, so he has 7 touchdowns.
And 4 of those came in one game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That is true. Our red zone offense has been okay, though, Luke, because this is a positive show. We've been good.
We've been okay.
Good job. Yeah, we've been okay. That's a good way to put it. Trevor, what do you think
yeah.
on the running backs?
Oh, I thought you wanted me to say sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
And buttercups and butterflies and unicorns.
He's like,
Trevor,
Throw up.
Trevor, what do you
yes,
think?
man.
Yeah.
Yes, man. Yes. Mhm.
Yes, ma'am. That's what I think. I think AJ Dillon gets a lot of recency bias. I really have to look at the NFC, but you always know there's those idiots that are like Saquon Barkley. It's like he hasn't played and he sucks, and they're gonna vote for him anyways. So we'll see.
Yeah, only 2 running backs, I believe, get voted from each conference too. So we're talking he has to compete with Ezekiel Elliott, who's going to be massively popular, Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, Leonard Fournette, and those are probably the big ones.
That won't matter though, because
DeAndre
Tampa
Swift,
Bay
maybe.
doesn't have fans.
I didn't hear either person.
Sorry, I said
That's
DeAndre
real
Swift,
low.
maybe.
That's true.
And I said Tampa Bay didn't have fans, so
Now they have fans. Well,
Kind of got sad because what if the Lions don't have a single Pro Bowler?
I hope not.
Dan Campbell would be their Pro Bowler, baby.
Jerry Goff.
Yeah, can he coach? That would just make Dan Campbell the coach. Let him coach some good players. Fucking, he deserves it. Please.
Take it personally. Like, is there still a game? I always forget.
Yes.
Yeah, technically,
If there's
I guess
a
it's
game, he'd like run up the score. He'd be like, "You give me good players, I'm not letting them go." He'd win like 52-6.
Show some damn hustle, man. He's
like,
screaming at him.
It's like Giannis recording triple doubles in the All-Star game in the NBA.
Yeah. They have to have somebody, right? I don't know who would be their Pro Bowler though.
Swift.
They're gonna rely
Hawkinson?
on Jamal Williams.
Honestly, it
now.
might have to be Swift.
So it's not Packers related.
Kabinda.
But just because you said the only 2 running backs make it, that AFC is going to be tough for running backs with Henry, Taylor, Mixon, Eckler.
I don't know. I would have to look back to see what they do on those injuries, right? Because, Derrick Henry still ranks near the top of the rushing stats. So, technically he probably should. But yeah, that's a good point. Quarterbacks too, man. Like there's good players that are going to be left out. I don't know. Good thing I don't watch the Pro Bowl, so I don't really care.
Yeah, I love the Pro Bowl.
Why?
It's fun to watch.
No, it's not.
It used to be. I like the competitions, but I don't want to watch them play dodgeball. Like, what are we doing?
No, the worst thing about that is they air them on Thursday, and then the Pro Bowl's on Sunday. Like, wouldn't you all air it all at once, or maybe Saturday night, then Sunday night?
You would think something. I don't know.
It's like MLB making playoff games at 3:30 p.m. on a Monday.
Or 1 o'clock on a fucking Monday.
Right.
Manfred, bitch boy. I do have a send-off for us, though. If you don't mind. First, this is 100% personal. Shout out to Platteville for beating the brakes off of Lacrosse, only by 6, but they still won on the road, so suck it, Luke. Secondly, Janet was not here when we did one thing we were thankful for from this Packers team. So if I can get her attention for 5 seconds. Janet, what are you thankful for from the Packers team? You get one thing, and it can't be sarcastic. I found that out the hard way.
I'll just say Aaron Rodgers' toe picture.
This is a kid show. Come on.
You're a teacher, Janet.
Well, it still has to do with Aaron Rodgers that he came back. That's what I'm thankful for.
I said the same thing.
I don't remember what I said. It was probably sarcastic, if I would imagine. Okay, enjoy your bye week. We're not going to lose this week. That's positive. And this was a positive show.
Hey, yeah? Lions have a better record than the Rams this month. Don't forget. Dan Campbell's at the helm, baby.
You do. Let's go. Okay, let's root on the Lions this week. Positive energy towards them.
Jared Goff better than
Balls up, baby.
Yeah, I hope they win because it'd be funny if they lose because then we won the same amount of games that they did and we were on a bye.
True. Okay, we'll be back next week. Later.